Scribner. You're a scrub, right? And you suck, boy. Welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance. My name is Christopher Belly. I'm a certified CPA accountant. I'm a fake boglehead investor. I'm author of the book Stop Being a Broke Loser. It's on Amazon. And we got to talk about Ryan Scribner's trash, utter trash ETF recommendations. Now, if you don't know who Ryan Scribner is, he's this Pillsbury Doughboy YouTuber that got famous a couple years ago. And now his channel has seemed to decline a little bit. Oh, and he also was paid to promote Very Good Food Company. I'm a good investor, Dad. So Ryan put out a video recently that I had to react to because he recommended 5 ETFs that you can buy and hold. We're going to watch a brief clip, and then we're going to go through each ETF that he recommended. And I'm going to tell you why. Well, some of them are okay, but some of them are absolute trash. But at the beginning of his video, he self-owns himself because he says, some people like to buy ETFs and indexes, and some people like to buy individual stocks. And then he goes on and says this. Let's go ahead and watch this brief clip, and then I'll trash his ETF.
Based on recent figures, roughly 6% of investment professionals out there actually beat the market. Now, I will say it's not a completely apples to apples comparison with retail investors. For example, retail investors are able to invest in small cap stocks, whereas large mutual funds that have billions of dollars to deploy simply can't even play in that territory because they would have to own the entire company for it to even make sense.
This guy is so stupid. All right, number one. He literally said 94% of the pros can't beat the index. And then he goes ahead and recommends a couple actively managed ETFs. If you see active management, that's the pros trying to beat the index. And then he says, large funds can't invest in small cap stocks. There's freaking small cap investment mutual funds everywhere. And if you have a total market index, you have small caps. So yes, large institutions invest in very small stocks. As a matter of fact, I'm even sure Tattooed Chef has investments from all sorts of large institutions, which is freaking sad, okay? But in this video, he recommends 5 ETFs that you can buy and hold. And I'm going to give you a guess, okay? He's going to talk about ETFs that are only based in the United States because I guess he was born there and because U.S. stocks went up more in the last decade. And he's going to invest or recommend a bunch of random actively managed ETFs. Let's see, okay? So let me make sure I'm sharing my screen. The first ETF that he recommends is the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. Now, can I knock this ETF? No, it is a fantastic ETF. Okay, that's the one ETF that Ryan talks about. That's okay. Why don't I like VOO by itself? Because number one, it excludes very small stocks in the United States. The VOO is only the S&P 500. There's like thousands of other companies in the U.S. stock market that are traded. And if you buy VTI, you get access to those. Well, it's like, large caps have overperformed, have done better. Well, maybe not going into the future. And historically, small cap stocks have done pretty freaking well because there's more of a risk associated with them. But, recent outperformance, whatever. But at the end of the day, VOO is not a horrible ETF, okay? It's actually a great ETF. It's got a 0.03% expense ratio. You get 80% exposure to the United States stock market. But let's go look at the holdings first. It's, in my opinion, it's not super concentrated, but you do have Apple and Microsoft as 7.2 and 5.83%, the top two. And you have Tesla at 2%. Not horrible, but if you look at this handy dandy tool right here, you see this massive globe? See the globe? Well, guess what? How much of the globe are you buying? Not much, but America, bro, it went up more. And it's the top superpower, bro, forever and ever. Okay, yeah. So that's why I don't individually invest in VOO. However, VOO, whatever. However, VT has VOO. A big part of VT is VOO. I don't know if you guys knew that. It's really hard to understand, okay? The next one that this clown recommends, QQQ. QQQ is a freaking garbage ETF. It's trash. Now people like QQQ because it went up a lot. And if you want to be a good investor, you buy stuff that went up a lot. Once again, highly concentrated. I guess there's some China and UK exposure. Oh, a little bit of global exposure there, right? Well, it's mostly a US ETF. Look at the holdings. Look at the concentration. Oh my God. 13% Apple, 10% Microsoft, 7% Amazon, more than 7% Alphabet, Tesla, Tesla, 4%. The top 10 holdings are like what, 50% or more of the ETF? This is so concentrated, it's dangerous. Because look what happened to Meta. You see Meta right here? Oh, it was 2.65%, or it's now 2.65% of the ETF. Meta collapsed from almost $1 trillion company, $1 trillion valuation, to 300 billion or something like that. Okay. That is a massive decline. And if you're concentrated in something like Apple, where that could potentially happen, it could. You didn't think it could happen to Meta, did you? It happened. It could happen to Apple. It could happen to Microsoft. It could definitely happen to Tesla. Amazon, all these companies could get absolutely freaking wrecked. You don't know the future. And Meta is absolute proof that even a brilliant stock that's $1 trillion valuation could absolutely collapse. And if you buy QQQ, look how concentrated you are. But it went up, my bro. What's the next ETF this freaking clown talks about? Next, he talks about FPRO. Never heard of this one. Well, remember, he talked about how real estate or how active management doesn't beat the index, okay? Well, FPRO is the Fidelity Real Estate Investment ETF. Let's go look at the expense ratio. 0.6. Let's zoom in so you can see it. Well, I rounded, okay? It's not 0.6, it's 0.59. I rounded. It's 0.59%, all right? That's a freaking high expense ratio. But you get real estate exposure, right? Well, let's go look at the holdings. Very concentrated here, ladies and gentlemen. Crown Castle, SBA Communications, Progalalis, Whale Tower. Pretty concentrated, okay? And if you want exposure to real estate, there's other ETFs out there that are way, 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 way cheaper because active management doesn't outperform indexes in the long run, which he just freaking said, and then he recommends this. What an idiot. Okay, and if you look right here, okay, I wonder if this has what's that freaking ETF? Or not ETF, that's stock. Geo. I wonder if it has Geo Group, because I know Geo Group has like prisons and somewhere in Africa. But basically, it's the United States. Again, you see the bias with him? U.S. stocks, bro. U.S. stocks, bro. U.S. stocks, bro. Just buy U.S. stocks, bro. Active management cannot perform, but I tell you to buy actively managed ETFs, bro. Oh, they give you the percentages. 96%, 97%. Well, it doesn't say it here, but I can guarantee you it's probably mostly U.S., all right? So this is a stupid ETF. Why would you buy this, an actively managed ETF with a 0.59% expense ratio and probably much higher turnover, when you could just buy, I don't know, VNQ or something like that? That's an ETF as well with a much lower expense ratio. I mean, look at this. Look at other options. But of course, this one probably went up more recently. What's the next one that he talked about? Oh, where to buy ETFs? Anywhere, you freaking loser. FBCV. Like, where is he pulling these out of his butt? So he's got Fidelity Blue Chip Value. Now, let's go look at the expense ratio. Oh, 0.59. Is this another actively managed ETF? Yes, it is. What a freaking loser. Okay. So you look at the holdings in here, and like, I look at this list, and like, okay, these are all pretty solid companies. I'm not going to trash it. Berkshire Hathaway, ExxonMobil, blah, 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 blah. But the same argument holds weight. If you're going to buy an index, like basically this is just a large cap value index. You don't think there's an index out there that just tracks an index that is like a fraction of the cost? And if here's the risk with an active manager. if he makes one mistake, or she, if they make one mistake, you're done, son. They can screw you over. And let me guess, US stocks, bro. US stocks, bro. 90%. And last but not least, this is going to be very controversial. SCHD. The Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF. Now, this is very popular with the dividend clowns because, number one, if you have a portfolio, you want to make it as tax inefficient as possible. Number two, you want to buy stocks.
How the economic machine works in 30 minutes.
Shut up. You want to buy You want to buy U.S. stocks only, basically. And you want to buy stuff that went up more recently because that, ladies and gentlemen, is the key to investing success. But he knows this is popular, so he talked about it. So just looking at it up front, okay, the expense ratio is extremely low. Okay, that's great. What's the dividend yield? High dividend yield. So it's focused on companies that pay lots of dividends, which lowers the stock price and generates a taxable event. Because the company can keep the cash inside the company and reinvest it. They can buy back shares, or they can pay a dividend, or they can pay off debt. There's tons of things they can do with the cash. But this is specifically focused on high dividend yield. So let's say, even though I hate Tesla, you didn't invest in Tesla because you don't like it doesn't have a dividend, bro. Well, you missed out. That's why I say you should buy a total market index, because you get everything. You don't just focus on one sector of the market, and you don't focus on paying as many freaking taxes as you possibly can. But holdings: Merck, Amgen, Pepsi, Home Depot. Okay, solid companies. I mean, can't really speak on their valuation, but pretty solid companies, right? Holdings analysis: U.S. stocks, bro. And how many holdings are there? I think there's like 100, something like that in this ETF. 101 holdings. Okay. So instead of owning all the potentially amazing stocks around the globe and even in the United States, which you shills love so much, you just focus on 101 stocks. That's it in one country. So let's review. VOO. Can't really knock it, but I like global indexing and I like exposure to the entire U.S. stock market, which this doesn't give you. It only gives you 80% of the market. QQQ, clown ETF, okay? Point to expense ratio, I guess that's not horrible. Highly concentrated in stuff that has outperformed recently. Fidelity Real Estate Investment ETF, another clown ETF. He said it himself. Active management doesn't outperform in the long run. And then he goes ahead and buys this. Okay. Fidelity Blue Chip Value. Same freaking thing. Active management, high expense ratio. You could, if you wanted blue chips, you could find a freaking index ETF. Why? And then, of course, SCHD, 101, highly tax inefficient, and went up a lot, so people like it. Good job, Ryan. I'm really proud of you. What the hell? Why won't this click? I hate Ryan Scribner. He's a clown. He just re-uploads video from 5 years ago saying he sucks. He's an idiot. You think after him doing like all this like investment stuff for all these years, he would like grasp simple concepts like don't buy active management, retail is a bunch of clowns. Like, what? But VT don't beat inflation. Yeah, it doesn't beat inflation. Ryan Scribner still has a channel. I thought this guy disappeared. He did, but now he's like coming back. He's like, oh man, I got to work a real job? What? No, I'm just going to talk about trash ETFs and, get paid to pump a very good food company. Hey, Rue Rabble. All right, guys, that's it. I got to get ready for stuff. Cheers.